Hello, welcome. I am Skix of Scixxy's Greater Shows, of the YouTube channel Skix, of Gonzo Rising, which is also a YouTube channel which I've pretty much abandoned. I have no reason to believe anyone is ever going to watch this, but I noticed I had 116 followers, so I thought, hey, might as well, right? I've realized that as an entertainer, as a content creator, I am underutilizing my YouTube. Video content can be really valuable. So starting now-ish, I'm going to be creating video clips and samples, I guess, of some of the shows we produce, both through Scixxy's Greater Shows and at Alliance Theater. The Utah Arts Alliance also has their own page, and I will be sharing with them. They may choose to update some of these things to them as well. But welcome. So, what is Scixxy's Greater Shows? First of all, it's just me. Second of all, the name is a little bit funny. It's a nod to a carnival back where I grew up in Maine. Smokey's Greater Shows. It's a carnival. It's a traveling carnival. And when I tried to come up with a name for my production company, that's what I came up with. I'm still in process of creating the production company, so if you do a business search, you're probably not going to find us yet. That's Scixxy's with 2 X's. I do have a webpage, Scixxysgreatershows.com, and I'm on Facebook and right here. Let me tell you what we've been up to. As I say, I'm here at Alliance Theater in Salt Lake City. For some reason, I wound up in Utah, of all the places. And I found a community of weirdos, and we've been creating art. We've been creating performing art, specifically. The Alliance Theater is part of the Utah Arts Alliance, which is dedicated to fostering the arts and particularly dedicated to a radical inclusion, which aligns very nicely with Scixxy's Greater Shows. I started with the Clusterfuck Cabaret. Then I created Gonzo Rising, which became its sort of own ensemble cast. And as I started creating things in addition to Gonzo Rising, it became evident that I needed a new umbrella. Nobody watching, but nobody disliking either, so that's good. I'll embed this in my Facebook page. So this past weekend, what did we do? Well, at Alliance Theater, we did Brawling Beauty's Booby Buster, which was a fundraiser to help Miss Brawling Beauty, who has some medical issues, including some very incredible local artists, some new talent, some old talent, and some very classic as well as innovative burlesque. The day after, yesterday, we produced Dr. Finnegan's Circus featuring Le Carnaval Toxique. What is Dr. Finnegan's Circus? That is a group out of Massachusetts who's been traveling the country. A trio, a comedy trio, I would say, who do circus sideshow acts, some geekery, some kind of grotesquerie, all with a very lighthearted and genuine comedy camaraderie. Very vaudeville, very Looney Tunes, very Muppet Show. As Looney Tunes and Muppet Show are really some of the last vestiges of vaudeville, and Scixxy's and Gonzo are very much dedicated to vaudeville revival. This is 2021. In 1921, vaudeville was supreme, and it's time to bring it back. There was a new vaudeville movement in the 80s and 90s. It didn't last long. It didn't go very far. We didn't want to specifically attach ourselves to that label, so we're talking vaudeville revival now, the variety show revival. And the hybrid show, I feel, is the way to go. So we've got a fairly intimate theater. 70 people fills us up very nicely. We can go more, but it starts getting tight, and particularly in the middle of a pandemic. Another throwback to 100 years ago. Yay. We're not going to fill it that full. But we have something they did not have. We have live streaming. Now, I do not generally live stream to the YouTube channel because some of our productions have copyrighted music. And while we have the rights, we have BMI, we have ASCAP, we have broadcast rights to this music, YouTube algorithm doesn't care. And there's no way to pre-select, we have the rights, please don't block us. And there's very little way to challenge a copyright block, which is all automated. So we're really not going to use this platform for a lot. I'm going to create promotional material, and I'm going to provide links and access to some of our shows ongoingly. Right now, we're using Twitch, and we're using the ShowClicks live streaming service, which you've probably never heard of, but it's very high quality. It has a latency of about a minute, but that means it can live stream a very high quality video. And some of our shows are going to be pretty cheap, and some of them are going to be a bit more spendy. But as much as possible, what we produce is going to be a hybrid show. We're going to have a live studio audience and essentially a TV studio broadcasting a high-quality show. We've got multiple cameras, we've got slides, we've got video, we've got sound. Good stuff. It'll be like watching TV. It'll be like watching a pay-per-view show. What else? Oh, I got distracted. I am a poster child for ADHD in adults. Yay. Dr. Finnegan's Circus talked about that. The other part of the show was Le Carnaval Toxique, which is a puppet show. It has kind of a post-apocalyptic feel. It's a production of Puppets in the City, which is a local puppet show company. They do a lot of educational shows. They do a lot of inclusivity and anti-bullying shows. They do a lot of classes, particularly for underprivileged and marginalized people. And they created and produced Le Carnaval Toxique as a show for the local Fringe Fest, the Great Salt Lake Fringe Fest, part of the international network of fringe festivals. Our local Fringe Fest got shut down due to a COVID-related emergency. And I'll be honest, Salt Lake City's not doing well right now. But they could not do their final performance, so they agreed to do it with us for our live audience and our home audience. Parts of this performance will probably appear on here, but we're going to have to do some heavy editing just to make sure we don't get any copyright strikes. But I really, really want to show off some of the talent we have been hosting through Scixxy's Greatest Shows and through Alliance Theater. The theater is part of the UAA, part of the Utah Arts Alliance. They have their own promotions machine. Scixxy's Greatest Shows is its own animal, but there's a lot of overlap. We're friends, we're relatives, we're family. They are a nonprofit, and I don't make any profit. I lose money with every single show, in part because I am dedicated to paying the performers what they're worth, or at least as well as I can. This past weekend was frankly disheartening. Not a lot of people bought tickets. Not a lot of people showed up. And even when I was offering free live stream codes, not a lot of people watching. It might have been bad timing. It might have been that the sort of people who would like our show are not the sort of people who would like uh, live stream shows. I don't know. But our performers are super high quality. Look for some video content on this channel from Scixxy's Greater Shows in the future. I know as a content creator, the way to go is consistent and regular updates, and I cannot promise that. But if you are one of my followers or subscribers and you like the bizarre, the queer, the camp, the grotesque, if you like variety, if you like comedy, if you like vaudeville revival, if you like circus sideshow material, if you like the unexpected and the unusual, if you like seeing people on stage that you don't normally see, then this is the place for you. We are a community that's building up out of people who've been pushed to the sides, mostly in the Salt Lake City area. So, there's local interest. But this represents a movement that's happening everywhere. And as we get a larger global audience with live streams, we are going to also have a global talent base. Because the cool thing about a hybrid show is you can insert live streamed content from other sources and recorded content from other sources. I do have to apologize. I have a stuffy nose. The air quality in Salt Lake City is terrible. And those of us with allergies are not having a good time right now. Let's deal with wildfires. Let's deal with there's some definite industrial pollution happening, and the automobile pollution is just dreadful. Salt Lake City is in a bowl surrounded by mountains, so things tend to kind of settle in. So let's see. I think that covers it. That's last weekend's show. The other thing we had to open the show was taiko time, taiko drumming, part of a cultural heritage out of Japan, brought here by a traditional player and taught to local players. If you might get a sense that I lean toward the lefty liberal here, and I do. And I try to be aware of things like cultural appropriation. This is something that was brought to us by a traditional player out of Japan and treated with respect, but also innovation. And that's kind of the realm we like to play in. Expect some upcoming Gonzo Rising shows. That is our vaudeville revival with a focus on the Weirdo Act. Expect some of our all ages shows to come back. Silly Slam is the title we usually play under. Le Flourish is the more adult variety show we like to play under when we're working with vaudeville revival that isn't specifically weird and grotesque, although everything we do is going to have at least a little bit of that. I have some weird people on retainer. And as much as you can support us by liking and subscribing, by buying tickets and watching online, or if you're local, by coming by, and by bringing talent to us that might want to be part of what we do, that's going to be good stuff. That's going to help everybody. Right now, the world, at least our pocket of the world, is shitty. There's a pandemic. Numbers are rising. Breakthrough cases and Delta variant rising right here in Salt Lake City. And culturally, we are opposed to doing anything about it. It's very frustrating for those of us that from the very beginning have been wearing masks, getting vaccinations as soon as it was possible to do so, social distancing. I mean, I have social anxiety, so social distancing, excellent for me. I now can like move away from strangers without seeming rude. Uh, Social unrest. Uh, Locally, the police have, they're really targeting the homeless right now. And instead of putting our resources into helping homelessness, we're putting it into attacking the homeless. And everywhere the homeless go gets shut down eventually. And that's sad and disheartening. And that's a population I would like to be able to serve. I know what we do is frivolous. I am completely aware of that. At the same time, when abusive, tyrannical, fascist movements take over, one of the first things they attack is culture and art. And not just the serious stuff, not just, ancient ruins and sculptures, but the cabarets get shut down. And that's part of what we are. And I gotta say, if the fascists are trying to shut them down, there must be something to them that's important. There must be something that's part of the fight and part of the resistance. And that's where we're at right now. That's enough of me talking. The next video you see on this channel is going to be a showcase of what we're about. And then we're going to start creating new material, new broadcasts. Stay tuned. Now look down here very unprofessionally and move my mouse to the end stream button.